Hi everyone, welcome back to Jean's Gems. So glad to have you here. I just have a quick video that I wanted to share with you today because I've been watching a lot of videos about creating junk journals and tags and making washi tape and all kinds of fun things. And I noticed that one of the words that's used quite a bit in our art is ephemera. And I'm finding sometimes that I'm confused about the way that ephemera is used and what it actually means. So I wanted to share with you some things that would be considered ephemera, vintage ephemera, and some of modern day ephemera. And then if you want to leave me a comment about what you feel ephemera is, how you categorize it, what you like to use as ephemera, either vintage, actual ephemera, or simulated or copied ephemera, just let me know, and I'd be really interested in having a nice conversation about that. So let me go ahead and just let you know, with ephemera, it actually comes from the word ephemeral, which means fleeting. So it's a collectible material that's usually only used for a short-term purpose. So when you think about that, you might think of a ticket stub, or maybe scratch-off ticket, tickets that you put in for a raffle. Ephemera is almost always a paper-based product. It's something that's printed, and it's expected to only have either a short-term popularity or usefulness. And it's not normally considered something to collect or save, but often we do keep it because it has some type of meaning to us, or we find them in scrapbooks. Maybe they've been from family members or friends. So I just want to show you some of the things I have. There's a broad list of things that are included into ephemera, even things that I learned that I wasn't aware of. But I have a couple things here, and I'll try to go through them quickly. One of the most accessible modern day pieces of ephemera is a good old magazine. You can use articles, you can use photos, you can use lettering. Those are all considered ephemera. So you can get magazine and tear out the articles, and that's fabulous. You can also use things that come in the mail. For example, I have here just a windowed envelope, great piece of ephemera. You can make a journal cover out of this. You can make this as an insert into your journal, and you have a great piece of ephemera. Another thing that you can use would be receipts. Now, as you can see from this receipt, it's only from 2010, so it's not that terribly old, but you can see how it's faded in color. It has some browning on it where it's aged. So I may not use this particular piece in my journal or my art, but it's certainly something that's optional for you to use. So receipts are great things to use. Also, any kind of packaging that you find interesting. So I just got some stencils from Ranger, and I took out the piece that was in the stencil, and look, I have this neat little black inside, shiny inside, and then it just folds over like this. And this would make a very interesting option for a journal cover with a closure, or you could sew this up the side and then use this to hold another journal and use this as like a journal a pocket or wallet. So that's a cute idea too, with something that we find in our packaging. Another thing I found was this had some brads on it, and I thought it was really cute because it flips up like this. I mean, you can smooth these down, cover this. It even has a hole here for a ribbon, and or you can, you know, fix these up a little bit and even dangle some things off of them, and then open it as a little, you know, put a paper here for a journaling spot. So I think that's really cute. So check out your packaging and see if that is something that you would like to use in your journaling. My mom gave me this today, and this is also kind of a packing. It was a wrapping for some rickrack, and it's the Cameo brand, so it has a cameo in the middle, and then it has some nice little writing here and lion mills, and you can fold it like this. You can make it something like a fold out for your journal, or you can seal it and use it for a pocket. So you have a couple different options with this piece of ephemera. This one here is actually for bingo. I don't know what they use for bingo nowadays. I don't know how old this is, but this is cute because a lot of people like numbers. So this number ephemera would be perfect to cut out for collages. Add it to a tag or journal spread, and there you go. It's blank on the other side, so you could leave it like this and, you know, have your journaling here, or you can always put it on something else that would make it sturdier because it is really flimsy, and then use it as a journal card if you're not going to tear out the numbers. So if you come across any actual vintage bingo cards, they were heavy and they are really nice for covers, so keep your eye out for those. This is a stamp booklet, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but many years ago, probably 70s or earlier, you could get these stamps from different products that you would purchase, and this one says King Corn on it. And so what you would do is you would fill up your stamp booklet, and when you filled up the stamps, you could take them in to the store, the grocery store, the mercantile, whatever, and you would turn these in so that you could get a piece of cookware, a piece of dishware. So this is a really interesting piece of memorabilia from the past. And you can actually, because this is a little bit older, you can actually take these stamps off if you're really careful, and probably use some of the stamps themselves if you'd like. Now this is tattered and worn, but to me that just adds the beauty and uniqueness to vintage ephemera. Another thing that is considered ephemera are postcards and calling cards and advertisement cards. Now these are older, and I tend to hoard some of these things because they're so cute. So if you have these types of things, this one is a sample card for business cards. So it tells you on the back that it would be $225 for 1,000. So if you have something like this, or this one here, this is a calling card. What you could do potentially is you could copy these and then use just the copies in your journal or on your tags. Just keep in mind, if you're going to do any copying or copying for sale of these types of things, you want to make sure that you check your copyright, because you don't want to be in any kind of issue with that. This is an interesting advertisement card. So you have the advertisement on the back, and then you have this really pretty feather, and it's like some berries and some leaves arrangement on here, and on the wood grain, which is really pretty. The reason I wanted to show you this one is because what I learned is that feathers and leaves were actually considered ephemera. So there's actually an official Ephemera Society of America that you can join, and it's for people of the United States who collect ephemera, and then what they do is they catalog it and they document it, and they'll also give you more in-depth definition of what is actually considered ephemera. Because I'm sure postcards have their own category, and advertisement cards and others, and so on. So here is another little card. These were obviously in a scrapbook, as you can see they were glued down, but it's a beautiful image of some daisies and cow, I believe. So the postcards and the advertising cards just had such beautiful images on them, and so beautiful to use in your journal. I just have this little raggedy thing here, but like, for example, you know, putting something like this on a tea-stained background would look really cute. Okay, so this one is also an advertisement. It did come out of a scrapbook. It's really pretty with the house, the trees, the lady with their dog, the ducks. It's really quite cute. I really like these. I do have a tendency to hoard this type of thing and not even want to use it in my journals. So I gotta look about copying something. Now this is also a calling card, and this was probably held in a scrapbook by those corners that you can get, and that's why it's been cut off here. But this is a fine example of a Victorian calling card. I had some other ones and I could not find them that were more embossed and had a hand, but it usually has a rose or a hand and then a little square here where you can write a sentiment or someone's name or whatever you want to do with that. This is another advertisement piece. It's called The Little Dancer. So cute, with the older man playing his accordion and the little girl dancing. I love the color of this, and also that it's a little raggedy, because remember, ephemera is something that can degrade over time, usually a paper product, but again, with the little dog-eared edges and the wrinkles, it just brings out some beauty to the journal, to the look that you have, and helps you preserve a little bit of history, which is really nice. So here I have this beautiful cat portrait. It is actually a postcard. It does have some damage to it as well. And this one was printed in Germany. And these are so fun to use in your journaling or in your card making. These would make beautiful tags if you wanted to add something here at the top. Again, you know, this is probably from the 1900s based on the other collections that I have. So probably be okay for you to copy these. But again, you know, I'm not advising that. I'm just telling you that if you decide to copy anything like a postcard, advertisement card, just check the copyright. Here's another really cute one. This is more of a glossy. It does have some wrinkles in it, which doesn't bother me at all. It says, "You're the real candy kid." And it's a gentleman feeding the lady some candy. She's sitting on the edge of this really fancy chair. And I think the silly bird here is really cute. But this one, I can't see. It has a stamp on it and a date, but I can't see what year it was. And these are two that I have that are just really fine examples of Victorian style postcards. Most postcards that I have come across that are vintage are made in Germany. And it's interesting because they even had some of the German military symbols on postcards back then that we today would not find acceptable. And then even things like horseshoes for good luck. And so it's interesting how designs and the flavor of certain things have evolved over the years. So these are embossed, so I love the embossing and the gold, and the faces are just, you know, truly Victorian. They kind of look porcelain. I have another one of this one, but one has a more damaged edge, so I've just been hoarding these for a long time. Flea markets, antique shops, thrift shops, great places to find these. This is another fine example. This is actually from 1911 is what the timestamp says. So if you look at this, you can see that there's some interesting embossing on the edges, and then the frame itself here that goes around the circle is embossed. So I wouldn't mind terribly finding a really beautiful image and covering this up and using this in my journal. So that's an interesting piece. A lot of the as I was mentioning, they use good luck. A lot of the postcards are also like a 3D or embossed, and you can feel them, how they're embossed. And I just love these yellow daisies. Now, I don't know that I would want to cut them out, but if you wanted to get the actual embossed feeling, you would have to actually cut the card up. This one doesn't say where it is made from, but it's probably still in the 1900s, and you can even see the embossing coming through on the back. I love that. This is another funny glossy one. It's called Hay Fever, and it is dated 1909, and it's printed in Germany as well. And I think that's just adorable. That would be great for a journal page. Journal cover, framed, gorgeous. Okay, if your mom, your grandma, great-grandma sewed, or if they knitted or tatted, crocheted, they may have some of these little booklets, and these are perfect for neat images. I'm thinking, you know, even a book dedicated to mom, a sewing journal, anything like that. This would be a beautiful addition. Okay, now along, just keeping with the sewing theme, I have some needle packets. The reason I brought these out is because you don't find needles normally packaged this way anymore. And they have little advertisement, like, well, this is just the name of the needle company, but I thought that was cute. And then it flips open here, and then you can see the needles. So the acetate is coming up, but you could probably glue that down a little bit. Once you take the needles out and then you close this and seal the bottom, this will be perfect for a tag, and it would have a window in it. This needle book, I thought of a couple different things you could do with this great ephemera. First of all, I love the cover of it, so it would make a great journal in itself. It doesn't have many needles in it. It only has a few. So if you wanted to remove these, you can, and then you could use this as your own journal cover. I do really like this threader image, and this is a really cool piece of ephemera that would look good on a collage or a spread. So these were mainly used for advertisement, and that's one of the reasons why needle books are a great part of ephemera. Here's another needle book, and I just love the design of this. This is so pretty. So you could even trace this and make your own pages with it, or make yourself your own little booklet. Now, you don't have to necessarily make it a needle booklet, but you could take these squares once you removed everything, and you could put little envelopes here or little shaker spots. What I would do is I would put some envelopes with all kinds of little embellishments, maybe over here a clear one with some buttons, or maybe ribbons. You could do all kinds of things with that if you wanted to. And I may come back with a project like this later because I think this is such a great idea. Now, this comes in this little glassine bag, which again has seen its better days, but glassine is another beautiful example of ephemera. You can stamp on it, you can put things in it. It's semi-transparent, so it's a really cool option. I love this one because it's all tattered and torn. Another interesting thing I have here is a packet of pipe cleaners. Now, I'm not sure of the age of these, but you got 36 for 10 cents. And they do have the pipe cleaners still in them. But what I liked about this is it was a very interesting example of an envelope. So the envelope is sealed here like this, which we know standardly. It's not gusseted. And then here it has two little slits, so you can easily pull the tag out. Not everyone has a punch to make the thumb area to pull out a tag, but if you do these little slits, it makes the tag come out easier. So I thought this was a great example. You could use this itself inside your journal. You could you know, copy the design for envelopes that you wanted to use. I think it's just really cute, and it would look neat in a journal for a man. Absolutely great. Okay, the next thing I have for ephemera is some greeting cards. Now, these are older, and they're for a baby shower, so it's welcome baby. So you have some really cute images, cute writing. They do open up, so you could cut some of this and use it as journaling spots. Here's another one. Open it up, and you can see the baby's face through the mirror. So you could even use, you know, trim this out and use it for something that you wanted to lift up and see the mirror. And this is embossed as well, so those are cute. We were talking about scrapbooks, so any scrapbooks you can find, they're going to have not only memorabilia, but probably some old photos. And this is an old photo that I found when I was preparing this video, and I thought it was interesting because the women usually never smiled in photos. So this is a really stately looking woman, and I think she would look great in a journal or on a tag. Here's another postcard example that I wanted to show you. This is a postcard that's actually made in Spain, tarjeta postal, and it says Catalunya on it. And what I like the best is that it is embroidered. Even the embroidery on her gloves is amazing. It's so pretty. He's not embroidered at all. So I like the fact that there's contrast. This looks like some watercolor up here. It's just a really neat postcard. And I like the fact that the back is not only blank, but it's in Spanish. So this is just pencil, so you could easily erase this. And then what we could do is we could make some copies of this, and this would be a great addition to your journal if you're bilingual, or if you're giving it to someone that's bilingual. I think that would be neat. Okay, now this is a postcard that has definitely seen its better days. It's from 1907. It has been used and stamped and date stamped. One of the things I was looking at on this is that must have been in the early 1900s. We weren't zoned yet, so there was no postal code. So that's interesting, or not that many people. So this one, I really love it with all of its imperfections. It just is a fine example of ephemera and how it does get dog-eared, it does get discolored, it does have, you know, imperfections, but when you use these type of pieces in your work, in your artwork, it just makes your journaling so special, preserves a bit of history, and truly uses vintage ephemera in your projects. Okay, I have this cute little thing, and it was in a scrapbook. It's called a dance card. So it tells you the title of the event and the date, and then who is going to be doing the music. These scrolls are just really cute. And then it'll tell you who has the first dance, and you can write that in. And then intermission, and then down here she wrote in a couple more names. Now, I love it when I can find anything that has original handwriting. That's great for collaging. Now, this little booklet is dear because it would be a great flip up for something, you know, in your journal on a page. And it has a lot of journaling spots. These are just really cool because we don't have anything like that these days. My son's going to the prom and he does not have a dance card. Okay, so this is just a little snippet of sheet music. If you find any large sheet music pieces, the images on those are absolutely gorgeous. So if you're doing a larger journal, or you want to do a collage piece and have beautiful ladies or flapper girls or anything like that on the front, vintage sheet music is an excellent way to find those images. Now, I have some, but they're in storage, so I couldn't show you some tonight. That's why I only put this little snippet in. This is what's called a cabinet card. Now, when they took your photo, they put it on this hard backing. Now, this is a very faded example, but at one time there was a project that we were doing that we were actually altering cabinet cards. So you know, you could put a crown on here, put a little bit of lace, couple buttons, just dress it up a little bit if you wanted to alter it at all. Or if you feel like the image is too light to use, you know, just cover it with something and make it a tag. Perfect. And I love the yellowing and how the color is on it. Another piece of great ephemera is maps. Now you can find maps pretty much anywhere. You can go to thrift stores and you can find atlases. Earlier I was saying almanacs, but atlases, and you can cut, you know, whatever you need, tear whatever you need, collage with them, add them to a travel journal, whatever you want. Speaking of travel, another nice thing are stamps. Now, stamps are definitely ephemera. They do have their own category as well under stamp collecting, but they're definitely ephemera that's fun to use to add in collage, add on journal cards that you make, tags. Get them in all different colors, different designs. These particular ones have already been used, so they were cut off an envelope, but you can find some sometimes that are that have never been used that are fun as well. Another big section that's quite large in the ephemera category are office supplies. So these are just little Rolodex cards. So you can definitely use these. You can use them as journaling cards. You can cover the whole thing. You don't need to keep the cutout. You can do all kinds of things with these in your journal, but these are considered ephemera. When I was younger, my sister-in-law used to bring me things from the office, like these little notepads that were to do, or someone called and call this person back, that kind of thing. And so if you can find any of those old receipt books, those are amazing ephemera pieces to find and use in your journals. I have a couple little books I want to share with you. This is a little advertising book, and what it is, it's for your automobile. So you put in the information about your automobile, but then it also has other little tidbits of information. For example, it has the postal rates for 1944. And it says, I was wondering if it was going to say, okay, I don't see, but all kinds of little things you can get. The census of the cities are in here, commercial law, a date book for things, which I don't see. This hasn't ever been used, so no one even filled it out or put their name in it. Addresses, and on the back it has the calendars for 1945 and 1946. So I thought this was really cute. You could tear out some of the pages. I love how it has the red on the edge. You know, these little pages would fit perfectly over the Rolodex cards. So that's cute. If you do decide to use something like this, or if you find one that's not as great in condition as this one, you can certainly take the pages out and use the cover itself for a journal, you know, a journal cover. Another thing I get often, if I find them, are dictionaries, and this is a French-English one. I never learned French, but it's fun to have something that's in a different language, and I've already used a lot of this. So book pages, definitely fabulous ephemera. We already use that so much now, so that's great. These covers can also, you know, if at one point they become completely detached, would make an interesting tag or even cover for another journal if you wanted to make a small one. I also have these two. Now these are from the same family. But this is just a little diary with the dates in it, and it's, she has 1965 to 72, so that's maybe the time frame that she used it, but it's, 64 to 72, and there's some handwritten entries, which I think are totally amazing. When I can find anything that actually has handwriting on it, that's my favorite thing to use in collage. I've always liked to write. I guess that's why I like journals and I like paper, but this is just so fun here, where she has this whole little story about Vance, her son. And then in the memo book, this is a memo book that was used in 1962, and this was about Vance because she talks about when the parents were married. She talks about his shots that he got for diphtheria and smallpox, and this one has some writing in it, and then it also has some blank pages. So the blank pages, I just looked, I picked up these flashcards, you know, another piece of ephemera. These are from 1957. I was going to get some index cards and didn't get them because I found these. And Natasha from Treasure Books, one of my favorite artists, she showed how to make some journal spreads with index cards. So her idea, of course, was designing the cover, leaving the back with the lines for journaling. So with these, you definitely have to cover both sides, but they're heavier than index cards. And I like how they have this little cut out here, or this little cut edge. I was looking at this paper. You know, if you covered the front with decorative paper to do your journaling, to do your spread, your card for your journal, then you could use something like this beautiful paper for the back. You wouldn't even have to use the whole thing. You could put another color of paper on the back and just use a part of it. You know, all kinds of great things that we can do with ephemera. So I hope you found this video informative. Again, a lot of people love a pre-made, or I'm sorry, what do they call it? Emulated ephemera, which is basically manufactured ephemera products. So like Tim Holtz, I just have these right here. This is a burlap, or a surplus list of collected seedlings. This looks like part of a park diagram. And this one is like different eggs and their shapes. But these are some pieces of some ephemera that has been emulated. So let me know, do you prefer to use this kind of ephemera that is, I don't want to use the word fake, but that is emulated or inspired by vintage ephemera? Or would you rather use actual vintage ephemera? So I encourage you to look in your junk drawer, your office supply cabinet at home, visit your grandma or your mom and see what she has. And it just really makes a nice addition to any journal that you may be making. This is just a little thing I had lying around. So You know, you can put postcard in here. See how nice that looks on tea-dyed paper. And you can do all kinds of things. So just remember that things you come across in your everyday life, like old newspaper clippings, if you get any flyers, if you get any of those packets in the mail with coupons in them, the scratch-off tickets, the movie tickets, even paper money from other countries is great. So I hope you enjoy your ephemera journey, and if you care to subscribe, I'd be so delighted. And I will be back with a couple projects soon. And again, thank you so much for visiting Jean's Gems, and you all have a great evening.